Just like the sun rising in the east, you can always rely on it.
One down. Two down.
This weapon has always been my favourite go-to gun on Vigor. Not because it's statistically the best, because obviously not. Not even because it's the best burst rifle, because it's not. Is it the best rifle at close range? No. Is it the best rifle at medium range? Well, that gets a bit debatable because it's where it's at its strongest.
Where is his body?
Why I like this rifle is it just seems to cover everything. It just seems to cover everything. I've killed people that are so small in the iron sights it seems ridiculous that I've managed to kill them. I've also killed people that are close enough they could kiss me. This weapon is just so reliable across the board. But here's the good thing. With it being a white and statistically speaking not the best gun, this thing will never get nerfed. Unlike the AKM, it doesn't have an older brother that's a green or a blue that it's outperforming. Ultimately, that is what did for the AKM when it got its changes. Was to make sure it didn't outperform its green and blue brothers. With the ES16A2, it has no different variant within the guns of Vigor, so it's not going to get nerfed for that reason, because realistically, statistically speaking, the AKM nerf wasn't really required. It was just required to make the other AK variants a choice. The reason I brought the nerf word up earlier on is that people have put a lot of hours into certain guns. The AKM had a lot of hours with a lot of people. The SG1, the H-bar, they all had players who put a lot of hours into them. Obviously, and then when they're altered, nerfed, whatever you want to call it, dialed back, these guns become a struggle for the players that had used them for a long time. We all know what's about to happen to the Famas stroke Vigor. I'd say it's slightly top end. The speed of the burst is probably too quick, but this is just getting blown up on Reddit posts about how overpowered it is and it's got to be nerfed. So ultimately the developers will react to this. The good thing about the ES16A2, it is pretty much never going to be in that position. So if you get good with it, it is going to be your old faithful for a very long time, and you'll be able to use it for a very long time. As a player with many hours using this weapon, most of the time I will only run this weapon. I won't run a long range or a short range kind of secondary weapon around it. If I've been running into a lot of sweaty lobbies, so if you run into them lobbies where everybody seems to be above 1,000 kills, everybody's running the bugle, some people are running the H-bar, so you know it's going to be, so sweaty it's going to be all wet, then I will always go with a close range weapon. So my absolute go-to if things are getting rough would be the Raffica. Now, I've already done a video about the M16 Raffica combo, which I'll link in the description below, just saying how good that combo is. I've also run in the AKS a lot recently as its short range counterpart, but the Suomi is also a good choice. Somebody rushes you into close range, you've got a Suomi, there's a lot of lead you can put down onto them. But as a rule, it will be just the ES16A2 only. One of the reasons I would always recommend new players to run this gun, because if you run all your guns like you run the ES16A2, so you get used to burst firing, your assault rifles, your fully automatic assault rifles, are going to be way better for you. One thing the developers have done, if you hold your finger down for a long period of time, that bloom goes so wide that you're basically in the lap of the gods. You're basically relying on RNG to get shots onto the target. But if you learn to run every gun like the ES16, all of your guns are going to be better. And other guns, what they will do is if you get really close, you can just hold the trigger down to go fully automatic. So I think that the ES16 is the perfect training gun. You have to learn to hit your shots, because if you miss the first burst, you're under pressure. You miss the first burst at close range, you're under serious pressure, especially if they've got any of the fully automatic weapons in the game. So getting your first shots in become very important. But again, if you learn to do that with the ES16, you'll learn to then do that. You take it into other guns with all your other guns. And now let's be blunt, at close range, if you've got something like the AKS and you learn to hit your shots and learn how to then burst fire your shots, you're going to be pretty deadly. But the key is on this game, that reticle bloom, Jesus Christ, it is now massive for most of the fully automatic weapons. So learning to run everything like you've run the ES16 will make you a better player. There's absolutely no doubts about it. Early doors might get you killed a bit as you learn what to do, when to do it and how to do it, but there's absolutely no doubt that you will become a better player doing it. So basically what I'm trying to say is, in my heart of hearts, I really hope they do not bring any ES16 variants out that are green or blue, which will then render this whole video pointless, because they'd have to be bloody good guns to be better than the ES16 currently is. So I'm kind of hoping that there's no M4A1 or any kind of Colt made assault rifle that could in some way impact the ES16A2 as it stands right now, because I kind of don't want it to change. I don't want to feel the pain that SG1, HBAR, AKM, ADR before that kind of players felt. I really don't. I'm quite enjoying Vigor as it stands right now. Every time I play this section of the Gromfern map, I just wished we had more urban maps. Just one. Some of the best firefights I've ever had have happened on this side of the river, on this map, where you've got so much cover and buildings, audio becomes king, and actually playing clever becomes king. I just wish.
One down.